To cash in without attracting regulatory scrutiny. For that, we talked to Chris Murphy. He's co-head of derivative strategy at Susquehanna, and everyone's buzzing about this. Chris, walk us through it.
Sure. Yeah, thanks for having me. It's obviously a unique situation. Everyone knows, or at least speculates on what his positions are from what he put out there. So, the options market's a listed market. So if he were to start to sell out of those calls, people will be pretty confident that that's him. Obviously, he has a huge amount of followers. So that would be a signal to the rest of the market that, he's selling out. So it does put him potentially, assuming that this is him, in a spot where, everything that he is doing in the options side of things is going to be seen and understood by everyone who's watching this.
But in other words, when you look at the options market, is it pretty clear that he's doing what he says he's doing? There have been those big purchases, block retail purchases that appear to be from him?
Well, when the purchases were happening, you have no idea who's doing it.
Right.
We have a market intelligence desk for our clients that tracks all the trades, and we saw the blocks trading. We might have even joked to ourselves, maybe that's Roaring Kitty or something, but nobody knows who it actually is. The only reason people do is because he's putting out this information. But you do see the footprint of the trades, both on the way in, you see large blocks of options trading, and then potentially on the way out, except we have not seen any of the sell blocks trade yet.
That's what's interesting. If we saw those blocks trade and everyone thought, oh, there we go, he put out these tweets, he immediately cashed in, he's kind of playing his audience, but that's not the story the market appears to be telling, at least right now.
Well, yeah, and also, it is 120,000 calls. That's not very easy to get out of all at once. So it would probably have to trade in smaller pieces. But once the smaller piece trades, everyone starts to say, oh, it's time to get out of this thing. And because it's such a following and such an army, it is going to be somewhat difficult to get out if he's just going to try to get out through the options.
Would there be, let's go back to what the former SEC guy said this morning, this idea of cooperation. A lot of people are speculating, could he be partnering with hedge funds now? And he's tipping them off that he's about to, tweet this, and then they are going to, and so, what would something like that look like? And obviously that might constitute more manipulation if it's happening privately. If all that he's doing, he is telling us about publicly, then I guess there's no problem.
Yeah, look, I don't know. That's not my field. If he's doing something illegal, he's doing something illegal. I have no idea about that. If he's going out there and buying options and the world sees these option blocks trade, then the information is out there. Obviously, you don't know who it is, but someone who's going to buy 120,000 options in any stock, you should at least look at that if you care about that stock as well. So I guess that's all I can really say about that.
Right. And what would you say then the next move would be for him to avoid regulatory scrutiny and kind of just, put a nice bow on all of this?
Not sure about the regulatory side of it, but he does have the option of just selling the stock. So on June 21st, when these expire, he has the opportunity to buy 12 million shares for $20. That's a lot of money. He doesn't have that much money at least in that account that he showed to us. So if he does not want to take in that much stock and put up that much money, even though he's buying it for a lower level than it currently is, he can go out there and short the stock. It's around $27 right now. And if he has a short stock position at 27 and he's put into the calls at $20, he makes $7 the amount of times that he has those options. So he can do that. It trades 160 plus million shares yesterday. So, working out of 12 million shares over the next couple of weeks actually probably wouldn't have that much of an impact. And no one would really be seeing those blocks.
That is fascinating, Chris. That is why we turn to you for a sense of the drama that awaits us in the weeks to come. I appreciate your time today. Thank you.